Hi guys, I hope you're well today. So today the weather was perfect and it rained and um, if you know anything about rainy weather, like you get tempted to just want to sleep in, but that's what I want to talk about today, and that's the importance of showing up. So a lot of times our dreams are stolen, or we keep ourselves from achieving our dreams because we procrastinate so much. And I don't know about you, but for the longest time, like I've been a serial procrastinator. Like I've been so much of a procrastinator that um, sometimes, like when I know I'm supposed to be working, say maybe at 2 p.m., when the clock is hitting two, I'll be like, okay, 5 minutes. So that's 2:05. Then when the clock is hitting 2:05, I'll be like, okay, 5 more minutes. That's 2:10. Then eventually 15, 20. Then I'll say, no, no. At 20, I'll be like, no, I'll start at 30. And then 30 hits, and then 35. So the longer you do that, I notice you create a weakness in your mind. Like you're creating a habit, a bad habit for that matter, and you're perpetuating the habit of procrastination. So the longer you procrastinate, the harder it is to break the habit because it's getting strengthened. Like you're reinforcing the habit. So the only way to change that cycle is you have to do it abruptly, and that's just show up. So don't make excuses. Don't say the weather is not perfect, so I won't do it. Just show up. That's the only way to beat procrastination. So this year, I actually started doing that. Like I think January, I just made a decision. Like I won't be working with deadlines because what happens if you're procrastinating is that most of the times you'll be procrastinating your work so much. The only way you can get it done is when you see a deadline approaching. So deadlines are good, but like you don't want to start living according to deadlines too much because it's a lot of pressure. And there's actually a funny concept which I heard from somebody. So they say what goes on like in a procrastinator's brain. So they say there's a little monkey like in a procrastinator's brain or every person's brain, and then the procrastinators, it's like maybe you're given an assignment or you're given a task and you have 2 weeks to do it. So at that point, the monkey will be so chill, laid back, and when you know you've got 2 weeks to do it, you'll just be so chilling. And then when the time is moving, like when you have 1 week, it'll still be like, there's still enough time to do it. And it's so chilling. And then by the time it's like 3 days left, then you realize like, oh snap, that's why they gave me 2 weeks to do it. Now the monkey just starts panicking and you go into a frenzy. So the monkey takes over your brain. So essentially you'll be acting like a monkey, trying to get the work done within a short space of time. Yeah, so that was me. Like for the longest time, like I'd always work with deadlines, but it's not a very healthy way to work. So yeah, for at the beginning of this year, I just made the decision to always work, even when the deadline is like really far, and to not work with deadlines. Like just show up. That's the importance of just showing up, and that has significantly improved my results like this year. And I recommend it for everybody who suffers from procrastination. Like there's no cure. You can read 10,000 books on procrastination and how to mitigate it, but there's no cure. So the only cure to that is, and take this from a person who is to procrastinate, is to show up consistently and make the habit of showing up so that you cut out that procrastination gene or habit. Yeah, and you replace it with a better habit, which is the habit of showing up. Yeah, and like if you're someone who's like creative, like you obviously know the importance of working with flow. So me as a writer, and I think most artists and yeah, certain fields use a lot of flow periods. Like there's that time where you're in the zone where you work like effortlessly, and the work just flows out. Like you hit 500% productivity. You can do 5 times as much work as people because you know how to get into a flow state. So the topic of flow is very long, but it's a very important topic. So I think maybe I'll save that for tomorrow. And yeah, but you need to know about flow and why it's important. Yeah, so and how to get into flow states. I'll get into all that, so you can look out for tomorrow's video. It's a wonderful thing, and you get so much done. Like you can get your whole week's work done in one day if you have if you know how to tap into a flow state. Yeah, so if you work with flow a lot, then chances are you're likely to start procrastinating because you wait for the motivation or the inspiration before you do the work. But then that creates the cycle of procrastination. So as someone who has always been relying on flow states, I think since I was back in uni, I think I learned about them in 2010. That's 2010. And yeah, from that time, like I always wait for a flow state for me to start working. And I think that was what created the procrastination habit, because I know that if I'm not feeling like I'm in the mood, it would take me 10 times the energy, and I do maybe half or quarter the quality of work which I'll just do if I was in one flow state. So I started relying on the flow states as much. But the problem with flow states is that they are unpredictable, and of course you can get better at getting into a flow state and using them, but they're not up to you sometimes. No matter how hard you try, they just won't happen. So it's better to get into the habit of studying the action and then let the flow state find you. And yeah, so tomorrow I've got like really good ways of getting into flow states, and yeah, so look out for that video. It's going to be really explosive, and I talked about this in my book as well. So if you want to learn about what flow is and how to get into a flow state and how to make the most out of it, then you can visit my website or get in touch with me and get into my and purchase my book, and you will learn everything, all the nitty-gritties about flow states and why they're important. Yeah, so having said that, I'll speak with you guys tomorrow, and just show up, set a specific time and just commit for 3 days to just working at a designated time. You'll be surprised, like every time that happens, then the procrastination will go away, and then you'll stop being a procrastinator and you'll start getting work done. And ironically, when you start working according to a planned schedule, I've noticed flow states still happen within them. They're milder, and of course sometimes they're intense, but most of the times they're milder and they're so calm, and your work is nicely complete 2-3 days before the deadline. And yeah, it's just a better way to work. You're healthier. You also feel more productive, because I think beating deadlines after all that stress, then you just like knock out. And yeah, it's really a recipe for disaster, because you're calling things like burnout and stress and things like that. Yeah, so that's all I had for you today, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. So keep showing up, set the schedule, keep showing up. Bye.